What is up, YouTube? My name is Daylen, and today we are going to be watching TierZoo, our Stingrays Overpowered. Let's check this out. Yo, TierZoo, it's been a minute, as always, because I know you're probably doing other stuff. But yo, I want to learn, see what Stingrays got, you know? Maybe there's something I don't know about Stingrays, other than they sting people. But let's check it out, y'all, okay? Are Stingrays overpowered? Who knows? Who knows? Let's connect this to my computer, please. Not to my phone. Ah, there we go. No, don't connect it to my phone. No. Okay, there we go. Alright, connect, please. Connect! Alright, but I hope you all are having a beautiful day today. Let's jump into it. Let's see. That nigga's moving though. Hold up. That boy's moving though.
Thanks to Idle Obelisk Miner for sponsoring this video. Sharks are some of the most fearsome DPS builds the game has ever known.
Is that the first time he's
high mobility
just put a sponsor at the start like that? Zero ads. That's crazy. But I caught that, y'all. I've been watching enough TierZoo videos to notice that. Wait, what is this though? I don't know. Maybe it's his own ad. Alright, but anyways, let's jump into it.
An utterly broken perception stat make them an absolute run ender for any player not prepared to deal with them. Yet, Idle Obelisk Miner for sponsoring this video. Thanks to Idle Obelisk Miner for sponsoring this video. Sharks are some of the most fearsome DPS builds the game has ever known. Their high mobility, insane damage,
Stingrays
utterly broken perception stats
sharks,
make them
right?
an absolute run ender for any player not prepared to deal with them. Yet, of the cartilaginous fish faction, sharks comprise only around half of all playable characters. What's going on with this other half? While sharks are overall...
I didn't really think about that Stingrays are actually just sharks that are not like super dangerous. At least what I think. That's what I think, you know.
Pretty straightforward. Rays have
they don't really
some of
attack
the
people, right?
most interesting abilities and strategies.
Bro, that just looks like his face, bro. That looks like an ugly ass face, bro. Obviously his eyes is up here, but it looks like he got little, I don't know, like Ditto from Pokemon type of eyes. But he's uglier.
But how do they actually fare in the meta? Stingrays have a lot of interesting attributes, but without a doubt their most notable trait is their venomous barb. This is essentially a giant serrated tooth attached to their tail, capable of
it's not electricity, it's venomous, right? Are there any Stingrays that have like electricity? I feel like I've seen a cartoon where they like actually electrocuted somebody. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like there's a cartoon where they did that.
So naturally,
maybe
every
just
new player
poison,
looks at that and
venom.
thinks they'll be able to one-shot the final boss if they spec into it. But grievous as this attack may be,
I want to see something. Hold up. What is the difference between poison and venom? No, not that one. What is that? What is the difference between poison and venom? Not the characters from Street Fighter and Marvel. I'm talking about regular poison and venom. Venom is a toxin that is actively injected into the body, typically through a bite, sting, or scratch that breaks the skin. In contrast, poison is a toxin that enters the body passively through ingestion, inhalation, or absorption through the skin. Absorption through the skin. Absorption? Yeah, I said it right. Okay, let's get back into the video.
On a stinger as your primary combat move is a massive noob trap. Stingers have the worst accuracy rating of any weapon in the game. They frequently whiff entirely during combat, and even when they do connect, they often land as a glancing blow that does a fraction of the move's base damage. It's just very difficult to aim a weapon when it's as far as possible from your character's eyes and center of mass. Against any target smaller than the Stingray itself,
that what a
it's borderline
is?
impossible
That
to connect
Pokemon?
with this. So for a lot of novice Stingray players, they find themselves
Is it like
panic
essentially
mashing
a
the attack button
Stingray
and dealing 0 damage.
mixed with like a
Now this
beetle
isn't
or
to say
something?
Stingers can never be viable, but look at the builds that actually make them work. They either spec heavily into accuracy bonus perks, or get the builds that
What's
deal
happening
0
here?
damage.
That
Now
looks
this isn't to say
intimate.
Stingers can never be viable.
Y'all see this?
But look at the builds that actually make them
This should
work.
look intimate. What
They
is he
either
doing?
spec heavily into accuracy bonus perks, or they immobilize the target with a grab first, and then use their stinger at point-blank range. Insects get away with stinger spam because their Compound Eyes perk buffs their accuracy high enough to land the attack. And scorpions, of course, have powerful claws that can hold their target in place for as long as they need. The Stingray has neither, and as a result, it really cannot rely on its high damage to ward off attackers. And this is reflected in the rest of the Stingray's kit. When a player's toxic defenses really are a serious deterrent, they tend to not also waste points on camouflage, and prefer brightly colored palette swaps. Now, while the Stingray's combat prowess is less impressive than it looks, this doesn't mean the build itself is low-tier trash. So, how do their other traits
As an
compare?
alien, y'all.
As far as
As actually an
mobility
alien.
goes, rays have a truly unorthodox movement kit. Most marine vertebrates rely on their caudal fins as their primary way of generating thrust. But because
Thrustage.
stingrays have opted for a tail stinger, this option is unavailable to them.
They're
Instead, they
flying.
were forced to put all of their evolution points into buffing the size and strength of their pectoral fins, turning them into these massive wing-like structures. Most other builds use pectoral fins primarily just for steering, and by buffing them up to be capable of generating any meaningful speed, rays have also cranked their turn speed way up, making them incredibly nimble and capable of changing directions quicker than almost any other build in the game.
Man, that was
which
not quick.
they really need
I want to see
because
an
even
example.
when maxed out, their
How
actual
quick can they
top
really
speed
turn?
remains pretty mid. So while the Stingray's overall mobility
How
is
quick can
pretty
these niggas really
solid, in
turn?
practice,
Damn, hold up.
actually
I'm
escaping
sorry.
combat
I apologize.
requires his overall
Damn, that man
mobility
was.
is pretty solid. In practice,
Damn.
actually escaping
Hold on, I'm
combat
sorry.
requires a lot of skill to pull off.
My apologies.
As
I
rather
didn't
than
know.
simply speeding away from an attacker, they must dodge the attack itself and attempt to hide during the attack's end lag. Which brings me to my next point. The Stingray's stealth stat is excellent, with an asterisk. The Stingray's flat shape gives it a massive advantage
low-key
on
got
stealth
octopus
checks when
eyes.
attempting to hide on the seabed. By lying flat against the seafloor, and perhaps even slightly into the seafloor, they can become almost completely
Damn,
undetectable.
smart.
It's so good that
How'd they
most of
figure
the
that
time
out?
when a player is hit by their sting
I wonder
attack,
what, like,
it's
how do animals figure out this stuff? Like, I wonder what animals are really thinking. Like, yeah, I can, like, flutter my wings and camouflage myself under this dirt. I don't know, maybe they're just trying things and they're like, oh, let's pass it on to the next nigga and teach them or something. I don't
because
know.
they accidentally stepped on or bumped into the ray, rather than deliberately dug it out. However, there's a reason most fish opt for a body plan that minimizes their horizontal silhouette. And this is because in the water, shadows are an extremely important part
What
of the
do
calculus
stingrays
when it
eat?
comes to stealth, since shadows are not just visible on the seafloor, but the entire water column. A wider frame means a bigger shadow, and so anytime the ray is anywhere other than flush against the seafloor, such as when it's moving, it's actually one of the least stealthy builds in the game.
Yeah.
This can be somewhat mitigated by sticking as close as possible to the bottom when repositioning, but this comes with its own set of risks and doesn't fully solve the issue.
Damn,
Another
what is
issue
that?
with their stealth is not so much an issue with the Stingray build itself, and more of a problem with a common strategy that both sharks and rays employ, which is to party up with smaller fish players. The larger shark or ray gains resistance to parasites as the fish help pick them off, and the fish
That's
gets
cool.
free XP from eating the parasites, plus any scraps the ray leaves behind from its own meals. The problem
cute.
is, these fish tend to stick around even when the stingray tries to hide. And since their stealth stat
Yeah, I
is
like
way
when, like,
worse, they can
animals like team up and stuff. Are there any animals that like team up and then like the animal betrays them or something? I wonder.
end up giving
They
away the
probably
ray's
are.
location, even when it's
Alright,
otherwise
thanks for
completely
getting
hidden.
rid of my,
Luckily, similar to their stinging barb,
parasites
their
on me.
camouflage really only
Now it's
matters
time to
on the
eat you.
defensive. Neither ability
stuff.
comes into play for
That would be
hunting,
kinda
as
crazy.
most stingrays prey upon crustaceans and shellfish, using a combination of suction and crushing mouthparts to dispatch them despite their tough armor. So, while I do think the Stingray
crazy.
build has some flaws, it is at least a solid counter to crabs,
They don't eat
which
fish,
is
though?
important in such a carcinization-heavy meta.
That's crazy.
Just like sharks, stingrays have the incredibly powerful perception-boosting
got
perk
teeth?
electroreception, which
like
allows them
chomp
to
on?
detect prey moving behind cover. Arguably overkill given that they're hunting snails and crabs.
What did he say? What did he say?
Crabs, which is important in such a carcinization-heavy meta. Just like sharks, stingrays have the incredibly powerful perception-boosting perk Electroreception, which allows them to detect prey moving behind cover. Arguably overkill given that they're hunting snails and crabs, but it certainly does get the job done. Anyway, overall, the Stingray is certainly no low tier, and all of its abilities are powerful in the ranking.
What is that?
This is one of those cases where a more focused game plan ends up being vastly more viable than a mix of strong but non-synergistic traits. I'd place the Stingray in C tier. But not all rays opt for such an unrefined strategy. Some rays completely drop the stinging barb perk and instead go all in on optimizing the ray's mobility. These are the devil rays, including the mobular ray, devilfish, and most importantly the giant manta. Their larger, pointed wings take the ray's acrobatic abilities to the absolute max, allowing them a degree of turn control even greater than that of dolphins and sea lions. Just as with stingrays, this is great for dodging attacks, but also boosts the efficiency of their filter feeding.
It's just for fun?
I poke fun at a lot of filter feeders for being lazy AFK XP farming builds. And part of the reason for this is that when filter feeding, most of them have to move through a cloud of plankton fully, then turn and head back around again if they want to make another pass. Mantas are so agile, they can literally just spin to win, shredding through resource nodes without ever needing to leave and reset position, turning filter feeding into a much more active process, which is what enables them to power level to such massive sizes faster than, say, a whale shark. The cephalic fins on their head also help direct the flow of ocean water directly into their mouths, boosting their harvesting efficiency even further. With no damage-dealing attacks, mantas have to be prepared to tank a few hits. Though their mobility stat is solid, anything this large will need at least a little bit of time to build
why
up
did that
speed.
turtle do that?
Thankfully, the manta's premium HP stat gives it plenty of health to work with when attacked, allowing them to absorb even the most devastating offensive moves. The manta's other stats are also shockingly high. Even premium large will need at least a little bit of time to build up speed. Thankfully, the manta's premium HP stat gives it plenty of health to work with when attacked, allowing them to absorb even the most devastating offensive moves. The manta's other stats are also shockingly high, with an intelligence stat higher than any other fish, and a stealth stat way higher than it needs to be. High enough that mantas even have a mid-level version of the color change ability, which they use mostly for communication to coordinate team strategies. So, while stingrays in general I'd rank as C tier, I'm placing the manta ray specifically in A tier. In addition to the manta, there are a few other stingray side grades that are worth highlighting. I wish there was enough footage of these other builds in action to do a full tier list style video, but unfortunately decent gameplay footage is super limited. Anyway, there are two builds that I think are taking the ray playstyle in interesting new directions and solving some of the shortcomings of the base stingray. The first is the porcupine ray. While a piercing barb is powerful, having spines everywhere ensures all incoming attacks are punished automatically, rather than relying on the gamble of swinging your stinger. The only trade-off here is movement speed, as spikes increase hydrodynamic drag. But stingrays aren't super reliant on speed anyway, given how slow crabs and snails are. I think it's well worth the cost, and I wouldn't be too shocked to see this technique catch on with the broader player base soon. There's a reason pufferfish and lionfish are high tier. Spikes are great, but what would be even better would be dealing damage to an attacker before they even make contact. Enter the electric ray, which generates a damaging electric field around itself, just like the electric field does. This powerful defense reliably hits opponents in any direction, and can be used for hunting as well. Because the electric ray never had any need to spec into a stinging barb, it never respec'd to remove evolution points from its caudal fin, giving it much greater speed and acceleration. The shock move has a high stamina cost, but skilled players can use this to great effect, and there aren't many scenarios where it's not at least somewhat useful. It's especially potent against sharks, because their electrosensibility actually amplifies incoming electric-type damage, making shock-based weapons one of their biggest weaknesses. Both of these builds could definitely argue for a spot in the high tiers. And honestly, the electric ray's favorable matchup against tiger sharks makes me even consider giving it S tier. The manta ray's efficient resource harvesting ability is one of the most interesting aspects of its kit. Efficiency is the name of the game, and it's also one of the most fun parts of this new mobile game I've been playing. Idle Obelisk Miner. Look, one thing about me, I'm a sucker for a good idle game. But this one, it's really something special. At its core, it's simple.
Actually, let me see if there's more. Is there any more stuff?
Worse, they can end up giving away the Ray's location, even when it's otherwise good luck out there. Thank you for watching.
Alright. Well, W video, y'all. Shout out to TierZoo. Shout out to the people that be watching my stuff, you know. I just be learning, chilling, you know, vibing, watching this stuff with y'all, you know. And, you know, I get to learn some stuff, you know. I also do my own research, you know, just in case, to make sure facts are, you know, actually facts, you know. But interesting W video from TierZoo, y'all. Thanks for watching. Make sure y'all follow all my socials at Mr. Dialogist. You know, I stream on Twitch. I'm about to stream on Twitch right now, so I go check out my channels and stuff, you know, and all my socials. So yeah. Oh, also, let me know what other videos you want me to watch. You know, I got the TierZoo stuff, you know. Sometimes I just check out like fighting game stuff, you know, video game stuff in general, you know. What else? There's a bunch of other stuff. Daily Dose of Internet, sometimes I watch that. And I haven't uploaded a video on that in a while, but yeah, but anyways though, you know, thanks for watching, y'all. You know, let me know in the comments what else to react to, what games to play, you know, what games you're interested in seeing me play. You know, I got a lot of other stuff I want to play, you know, like there's a game called Densha Attack. I want to play Nine Souls. There's a cat game, like a Hollow Knight type of game, you know. And what else? There's another game. And probably other fighting games, you know, I want to try out as well. But yeah, just let me know in the comments and recommend me stuff, you know. But anyways though, that is it, y'all. Anyways though, my name is Daylen, you know. I can follow my socials, and yeah, if y'all enjoyed this video, make sure y'all leave a like on this video, subscribe for more content, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.